Hello, and welcome to
Papi Approved Movies.
My name is Papi.
And I'm Natalie.
In our podcast, we review and critique my favorite PG-13 movies.
Movies that I wasn't allowed to watch until I turned 13.
Every other week, Natalie and I will watch a new PG-13 movie.
And I'll see if Papi's movies live up to the hype.
Which, of course, they will.
Today we're going to be watching Necessary Roughness.
Before we begin, there will be spoilers if you haven't seen the movie and don't want it to be spoiled.
Press pause and come back when you're finished. Now, Papi, tell me the deets on this here movie.
Hello, Natalie. How are you doing?
Good.
All right. We added another football movie. I want to know what you're going to think about this.
You don't even play football. Why did you like so many football movies?
Football's a great sport. I played football when I was younger. Out in the parks. What'd you think of the movie?
It was good and then it just got worse. I think that as time went on, the concept wasn't that great. And then I think it slowly got worse as the movie went on.
Yeah, I loved it. I still thought it was funny. I see what you're saying. I understand what you're going with. But I thought it was a very entertaining movie. This movie's pretty funny. I really enjoyed it.
I did think some parts were extremely stupid. And not that, I don't know if it would be made today, but if it were made today, I would be fighting some people. Like, some of the lines, they're just so silly to me. And they're not, it's not supposed to be silly. They're being dead serious in the movie, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. What do you rate it first before I want to make a quick comment? What do you rate it?
I give it a 3 stars.
So this movie is very similar to The Replacements, which was another movie we watched. And as I watched it, it's almost exactly the same movie.
But I think The Replacements did it better. I gave it a 4.5 stars.
Yeah, you give it a whole 1.5 stars higher.
And thinking back on it, I thought I gave it a 5 stars, but that doesn't seem like me.
No, it almost seems like a remake, a little bit better. They created these characters that we gave very little rips about. Like the samurai character, like Sarge. And then you're like, who cares? While as The Replacement had all these characters that you actually fall in love with and you root for and you want to win. You're right. I watched this. I think whatever you watch first, you're going to like more.
That's not true.
If there's a remake of a movie, you're going to like the remake more. I don't think that's ever happened in the history of humankind.
It has happened.
What remake do you like better than the original? If you didn't see the original first, it doesn't count.
I think the Grinch movie got better.
Okay. The cartoon was better.
Yeah.
Then the live action one?
The live action one's scary.
Live action came after. Thank you.
No, the one in Spanish.
In what?
In Spanish.
The Grinch in Spanish? Oh, I don't know that one.
Or maybe I just watched it in Spanish. I don't know why, though. I don't know why I would watch it in Spanish.
Talk about Spanish. This movie's on Pluto, and it was only in Spanish. So we had to rent it on Amazon to watch it in English. So it was free on Pluto TV. We got super excited. We put it on. He's like, hot. And he's like, azul 42, instead of blue 42. And we're like, what's going on here? And you couldn't change it. You couldn't make it English. It was originally in Spanish, which is not true. It's an American movie in English. Yeah, it came out in 1999 with a runtime of 1 hour and 48 minutes. It was written by Rick Natkin and David Fuller and directed by Stan Dragoti. Main stars are Scott Bakula, Hector Elizondo, and Robert Loggia. Fun facts, the prison team was made of real Hall of Fame football players and a heavyweight boxing champ. So Evander Holyfield's there, and he's the one that said, I think I swallowed someone's finger.
Why don't we get into the recap?
Okay. The movie begins with Paul Blake, a 35-year-old cowboy throwing footballs at a scarecrow with a jersey. He's got a great arm and perfect aim. On a TV show, Coach Gennaro, a commentator, is talking about national champions, Texas State University. They've been caught cheating and have been punished heavily. Every player has been expelled, and all the coaches were fired. In the past, Gennaro was fired for the same thing when he tried to expose a school for cheating. They say this movie is based on a real college in Texas called SMU, where they got caught cheating and then they got busted big time. And one of my really, really good friends, Tildy, she went to that college. After the show, TSU President Purcell offers Gennaro the coaching job. Gennaro doesn't want to work for cheaters. The president assured him that he would have total control and they would do everything by the book. Gennaro decides to take the job, and he gets his old defensive coach, Wally, to join him. What'd you think of Wally?
He's all right.
I thought he was funny. He was like always yelling at people.
I didn't think of him as funny or stupid. Like, I thought he was just a coach.
Just whatever. Maybe that's how your coaches at school are. They're just very serious.
No. Speaking of my coach at school, during the movie, I was like, actually, fun fact, football is based on a game of war.
Yeah.
And I remember that because one of my soccer coaches told me that.
Yeah, that it's based on war.
Uh-huh.
So as you were watching this, you were seeing war.
Like, think about it. Like, they're literally gaining territory. Like, that's the whole point. It's a game of war, and it's so violent and all those things. Yeah. And I don't remember why I thought, like, oh, it's a game of war. Probably because of, like, Sergeant and all these different things.
Tryouts begin at slim pickings. Charlie Banks is the only player from last year, and he's small and weak. Coach Wally goes to visit Blake at his farm and asks him to come out to play football at TSU. Blake tells him no. Blake was a high school superstar, but didn't go to college because he had to take over the family farm when his dad died. That's kind of sad, right? I think that's more common than we know, where people, they can't really move forward, like in education-wise, because they have to take care of the family or take care of, the house or the home. Dean Elias meets with Gennaro. Dean hates football and wants to cut the program entirely.
Although I do think that online school can kind of combat that problem, like, little by little. Because, yeah, people have to take care of their family, but, like, maybe if they have a whole time period they have off, they can go to some online classes and do certain online degrees.
True. It's more accessible for sure.
Yeah.
For, working families and things
I think
like
that people often hate on online school and all that, but I think that it makes it more accessible for everyone.
Yeah, for sure. It's more expensive, though. That's the only thing. But, if you really want to go to school. But then I think the whole thing of him going to college wasn't just for school, it's for playing,
Yeah.
Anyways, Dean hates football, wants to cut the program entirely. He says he will be watching carefully and will cut players in the entire program at the first sign of impropriety. Practice is going badly. Blake shows up and meets his team. Edison, a rich kid's son. Samurai, I guess. Featherstone, a speedster with no hands. Wyatt, a cowboy, Sarge, a Marine, Mackenzie, an Australian rugby player, and Manu Manu, a kind, gentle giant from Samoa.
The whole point of Manu Manu is that he's just, like, this joke of a character. But, like, even when he meets him in the dorm, because that's his dorm mate.
Yeah.
That's the joke about him, is that he's just this stupid dude. Like, just this silly dude. But, like, I think he's just, like, one of the most amazing characters in the show.
Oh, I don't think he's stupid at all.
But they kind of tried it, like, he's kind of supposed to be a joke. Like, the second he's in the dorm, they're doing a bunch of jokes on him. Right,
because the whole room is, like, laid out like an island, and he has music going, and he's drinking.
He's supposed to be this joke of a character, and I think he's one of the best characters. Like, they didn't do a good job of making him a joke, because he's kind to everyone. He's kind to his roommate. Everyone's making fun of this dude, being rude to this dude, calling him old, calling him balding, and all this stuff. And he's like, hi,
sir.
Yeah, he's being so polite, and I don't understand why they're trying to, like, make it seem like he's supposed to be some silly character.
I think he's the best character.
That's what I'm saying.
If I had to choose my favorite character, it would be him.
Yeah, but I'm saying when they first meet him, I felt like they were trying to make him into a joke, and I didn't feel it. Like, I wasn't like, he's not a joke of a character. He's one of the best ones here.
Yeah, I think so. After practice, Blake gets hit in the head with a racquetball. Dr. Suzanne Carter asks for the ball back, and he falls in love instantly. They see each other afterwards in the cafeteria, and she mistakes him for a professor. And he plays along. He asks her out, but she's busy. Gennaro and Wally meet to discuss the team. Then Dean Elias comes in and cuts most of their best players due to grades. The coaches have no choice but to have all the players play both offense and defense.
This doesn't really make sense to me, because he cuts them for grades, right? But these people weren't going to play football in the first place. Like, they weren't that good. So they were there for college.
Yes.
So why would all of them be failing?
And college football happens in August, in September. They don't have grades. They haven't even started school. They cut these people before they went to that journalism class, remember? So, like, how do they have bad grades, like, from last year?
It doesn't make sense, because they're not there to play sports. They're just really good. because they're athletic people. But like they're there to learn for college. So it doesn't make sense at all. It's definitely a plot hole.
Yeah, it is a little bit of a plot hole. Blake and many members of the team go to Journalism 101. The teacher is Suzanne. She sees Blake and gets upset. After class, he tries to apologize, and she wants nothing to do with it.
First of all, this is stupid because he calls her by her first name and then she corrects him and is like, oh, actually, it's Professor something. And then he gets all upsetty spaghetti over it. She's your professor. Like, why wouldn't you? Like, I know you're the same age as her practically, but that doesn't change anything. You wouldn't call someone that, I guess, has power over you, but in general is literally your teacher and someone you should respect by their real name. You know,
if they would have built that relationship a little bit more, maybe she sits there and has lunch with him after the whole racquetball thing. Maybe they actually get to know each other. I don't even know if at that point I even learned her name. So I don't even know if she even told him, you know, maybe really quickly glancing, but not so much that he could just call her by her name. I thought it was kind of dumb. I really did. And later on, we find out she has a crush on him, was in love with him, like had pictures of him on her wall, and she didn't recognize him.
Exactly.
Yeah, the whole thing's kind of dumb. And then he asks her out. I don't know. That's pretty funny. And we'll talk about the propriety of all that.
Are you kidding me? Obviously, this is not a good time.
Yeah. At Blake's next class, Celestial Mechanics, he recognizes the professor, Andre Krim. Blake played football against him back in the day. Blake asks Andre to come play for the team, and Krim says no, but he eventually joins the crew. The Armadillos play their first game, and it's awful. They lose big time. Blake tries to make a great play and is benched for it. Coach tells Blake that the games aren't about glory. He just wants the team to play with honor. Do you understand this part?
I didn't even understand what was going on, to be honest.
So Blake goes for a play. Not the play that the coach drew. But the guy was wide open. He didn't catch the ball. But it was like exciting. And then he gets benched for it, which doesn't make any sense for me.
Because it almost worked if the guy would have caught the ball.
And he's like, you don't get it. We're here to play for honor. But like, we can win with honor too. We don't have to lose. So I thought that was kind of dumb. Actually, the whole relationship between the coach and Blake was really dumb. I didn't like it at all.
I don't know why he was such a Blake hater.
Yeah, I don't understand.
It didn't make sense.
Yeah. The season moves on, and the Armadillos are 0-8. After the last game, the team fights in the locker room. Andre suggests they should go out and partay. At the bar, the Armadillos are having a great time until Flat Top, the defensive captain of the in-state rivals, the Texas Colts, walks in and starts making fun of everyone. Blake tries to make amends, but can't take it anymore and punches Flat Top. A brawl ensues.
This is very familiar.
Yeah, it's almost exactly the same. In the last movie, he started the fight too, right? The quarterback. He's like, no, don't make fun of my people, right? So he's like defending people.
Nah, this is also where I think the replacements did it better because they actually go to jail.
And they do the dance in jail.
Yeah, and they do the dance. And I think that's like a big joke and part of the other movie. I think it's a full circle joke in the other movie because they do it at the end. And I think they did it better by forcing them to go to jail. But it wouldn't make sense in this movie because the whole point is that they have to like play with honor and all that propriety stuff. But like, I still think the replacements did it better in this scene again.
There is a scene where he calls Manu fat or calls him a pig or something like that. And Manu gets up. And at that point, you're like, all right, Manu's going to punch this dude out, right? And Blake stops him. He's like, listen, bud, let's not do this. Let's not. And then he's the one who starts the fight. So, I don't know. The sheriff comes in and breaks up the fight. Dean Elias comes in, hoping to disband the team. But the sheriff covers up the fight to protect the Colts. The dean leaves angrily. And Gennaro yells at Blake for starting the fight. Now here I get it. Bro, if we had any trouble, then we're not going to survive, right? Blake leaves and goes to Suzanne's house to talk to her. Once again, the gall on this guy. He just shows up at his professor's house. How does he know where your professor lives?
Anywhere. You could have gone to CVS. It would have been better. How do you know where she lives?
That's such a good question. She listens and tells him she's had a crush on him since he beat her high school football team when she was a cheerleader.
That's weird. Why would you? I just find it very strange. Like if I heard that and she was like, I was obsessed with you out of it, I'm like, I'm gonna take my business to CVS now. Thank you.
No, he's like hung up on her. He wants to make out with her. So
no, but it's still creepy.
No, it's not at all. Not 1%. If you find out the girl that you're digged you back in the day, score. That's happy days.
But she said it. She was like obsessed with you. And then she was obsessed with hating you, which doesn't make sense.
Well, because they beat her team. Anyway, so they go on for a walk. Now, you can assume on the walk they hook up, right? All right, I guess you didn't assume anything. The coaches look out for
I didn't even remember them going on a walk.
Well, you don't see it. They just... Between the panels, bro. The coaches look out for a new kicker and find Lucy, a soccer player. Hey, yo, soccer in the house. They give her a try, and she is awesome. The team whistles at her, and Manu stands up for them, threatening everyone. What did he say? You will be respectful. Like, you will show respect. What is his line?
I don't remember.
Like in the penultimate game, the Armadillos are only down 3, and Lucy comes in to tie the game. She kicks the field goal, and the team's losing streak is over. She's tackled after the play, though. Manu goes after the guy, but it's held back. She gets up, kicks the player right in the gonads. Outside, Blake and Suzanne get into a tiff. Totally unnecessary other than to explain how they made up later. Because they were, I guess, a thing. Do you like that? She wins the game. There has been female college football players. Mostly kickers in that same way. Or place kickers are the ones that hold the ball when they kick it.
I mean, it makes sense. Why wouldn't you? And I don't understand why, like, not all kickers, like, not just women. Why aren't they all, like, soccer players?
Oh, a lot of them are.
Like, that, it just makes sense to me.
The team celebrates by going to a party. All the players get nice jackets from Edison's dad. While Blake gets drunk. Gennaro comes in and yells at everyone. He makes them take off their jackets. Blake stands up for the guys, and they get into an argument, and Blake decides to quit. Later, Wally yells at Gennaro for embarrassing the players. You thought he embarrassed them? He came in kind of rude?
No, it didn't make sense.
Blake is leaving college and going home when Edison asks for a ride. He hops in and tells Blake he's been cheating and he has no chance in passing his midterms. Blake tells him not to quit, and Edison tells him, well, you did. Blake turns the Jeep around and gets Andre to help Edison study for the test.
His Jeep looks like a golf cart.
Okay. Yeah, there's like no doors, right? You just go in.
Yeah, it even has a little back thing that a golf cart has.
Blake goes to practice and Gennaro gives him the ball. So they're going to use a brand new computer. Remember, this is before I even had a computer. Brand new computer program that's going to make your brain smart, and Edison's going to pass this test. And Andre is going to create that program.
I thought it was just going to quiz him. That's what I thought.
I didn't even know that. But they never show a studying sequence, right? You always have a studying montage. Maybe it got cut. In school, Elias asks Susan for her midterms, saying he will regrade them himself. She tells him if he changes one grade, she will call for an academic review. Later, she posts the grades and Edison gets a C. He passes. At home, Gennaro gets a pain in his arm and he goes to the emergency room. Wally visits him at the hospital. Gennaro tells him he has to coach the final game and gives him his whistle and playbook. That's where Mom goes, ew, don't give me your whistle. That's disgusting.
Doesn't he have his own whistle? He is a coach too.
But it wasn't the big whistle. That's why, like, the big whistle is for the big coach kind of thing. That's why they had a little joke about it. Time for the final game, and it's against Flat Top and his undefeated Colts. Wally comes in wearing a suit and tries to coach and act like Gennaro. He gives a speech and tells the players that Gennaro has had a heart attack, and if they lose, he will die. That's really funny. Well, it didn't really work out because the game begins and the first half is a blowout. 21-0 Colts. At halftime, Wally realizes that he needs to be himself and pumps up the players. The Armadillos launch an amazing comeback. Gennaro finds out that he didn't have a heart attack, it was just indigestion, and goes to the game. At the game, President Purcell fires Dean Elias for interfering with Suzanne's grades. That was a very quick firing right there.
Yeah.
Not too much explanation. Other than the fact we don't like Dean Elias and we were happy he got fired, right?
I didn't like Dean Elias. Not because he was just like an annoying dude butting into everyone's business. He was kind of creepy.
Yeah, with Suzanne?
Yeah.
Big time.
That's why I'm getting my quote here, like, I'm afraid. And I remember when he was like, Suzanne, And then she like came in and she's like, what, I have a class. And he's like, that's exactly why I called you. I remember when that scene came on, I went, oh no, I'm scared. Like I said that out loud. Because he just creeped me out so much. He just
because
gave
he knew
me
what she was going to do.
Yeah. With your own faculty, A, is crazy. And B, like, why do you have to be such a creep? And I think that's a part of the reason why he's supposed to hate this footballer, because he's kind of like in love with her.
Yeah.
But like, he didn't need to be so creepy feeling. Like, he just felt like it felt icky watching him on the screen whenever she was around.
He would say things as she walked away. I love you too, or something like that. Or like, you know, mention little things or speak under his breath.
And it like icked me out.
Yeah,
like, it felt like gross.
But it was more like he was so nerdy and so lame that he couldn't like muster enough to ask her out. He was very creepy, but I don't think he would have done anything. He's just a creepy guy.
I think it was too creepy, and I don't think that's what like his character feels like. Like in the rest of the thing, he feels like a cartoon villain. Like, yeah, he's just laughing. This guy, like laughing like a cartoon. He's trying to bust these players, which is like, it's a silly movie. I mean, not that silly. So sometimes I was like, okay, this is a bit much. He's too much of a cartoon. But like a cartoon villain, and then he's like also a creep. Like it doesn't make sense. Yeah. It wasn't fitting for him, and it just made me feel uncomfortable.
Right, he should have just been like a clown the whole time.
Yeah,
makes sense. Team comes within one score. They make their final play and score a touchdown. They decide to go for a 2-point conversion to get the win. Manu promises Blake he will not let Flat Top get to him, and the play is on. It's a fake field goal, and Blake throws it to Charlie Banks. The Armadillos win. Everyone celebrates. The end. I don't know. Pretty good. Pretty good movie. I thought it was funny. Could this movie still be made today?
Well, probably. The concept.
Yeah.
But like certain things, like the dean, no. And then here I'm going to talk about, that's one of the things that I was like, this is so stupid. But the other few things is that there's a scene where he goes to Suzanne's house, like when he gets hurt, yeah, which is like, why do you have her address? Also creepy. And then he's like, I don't know how to get through to my coach. And then she's like, just talk to him like a human, like it'll work out. And he's like, I tried that with you and it didn't work. And then she's like, you know how hard it is to get respect as a female professor? Well, try being a footballer. Are you saying that women get like more respect than football players? That so is much. An insane. People will wear your name on the back of their shirt. Your name, your number, they're wearing you. Like, they're pretending to be you. They even said in the book, oh, I hate it. I'm tired of you getting all these newspapers about being the hero of our school. He's getting the most respect. Everyone loves this guy. Everyone's wearing his name. Everyone's writing newspapers about him. Try getting respect as someone like me, a footballer who's adored by everyone, but you're a woman. You get so much respect. Stop talking to me.
Yeah, maybe he talked out of line on that one. I mean, he could be right. I
couldn't contain my anger during that scene.
Yeah.
And that wasn't a joke. That was actually in the movie, and they fully expected us to be like, gosh, he's so right. Like, poor guy.
He was going through it. He was going through it.
No, he wasn't.
What else do you think would have not made it in the cut now?
Not that she was a woman kicker, but the fact that, like, she's supposed to be like, oh, this team is a clown show. And then one of the most helpful players on the team, like, oh, she's really making us into a joke.
I could see them doing that.
Well, I can see them doing it, but I, like, personally don't
she
think
was
it
the
makes
only
sense.
Other than Blake and maybe Manu, she was the most qualified at her position.
Exactly, but
so she wasn't a joke.
No, but they talk about her like, gosh, we're really the laughing stock now that there's a woman on our team.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
She's the one helping you out most, and I can see where people would be like, you have to get a girl. Like, I can see that still happening, but like.
Yeah, you don't think that would be if?
No, I'm saying I can see that happening.
You guys got a girl player on your football team, right? In high school?
We did, but I don't think she plays anymore. Yeah. I know they have a water girl still, but
I mean that doesn't mean anything. Yeah,
but it's like
still laughing stock. But although I think that would still be now.
But I think that they didn't need to be
like if we watch The Replacements now and they put a woman on the team, I think people would think Oh, we put a woman. Oh, can you believe that? Put a woman on the team. I
But
think that
there
would
was
still be
so
electable.
many jokes about like just there being a woman on the team. Like there was a whole scene about her needing to shower and
Well,
like
that. What do you think that was just for us to see a little bit more of Kathy Ireland than we could? You know what I mean?
that's what I'm trying to say.
She's wearing pads and thick stuff, and the one time she is taking a shower, it is an extra thing. If anything, she was eye candy in that one scene. So
I think her purpose was A, like, oh, they're being more of a ridicule, but B, I think that it could have been any sort of like person that doesn't seem like they should be on a football team. And then they just were like, oh, she's a woman and she's like a model. And then she's on this
Kathy
team.
Ireland's supermodel, yeah.
So I thought it was a little silly sometimes.
I looked her up afterwards because Kathy Ireland was in a couple of movies. She became like a billionaire. She has like a whole like cosmetic line or clothes line. Like she's like a billionaire, like hardcore entrepreneur.
Also, I don't think this is about being made today anymore, but there was a big joke about like, oh, he's so old and he's in college. They could have done a better job at picking the actors. I saw college students that weren't him. They were supposed to be freshmen. They were balding. They look old. They look just as old as him, if not older sometimes.
Yeah,
like
that
I
Charlie
know
Blanks guy.
movies do that all the time where they pick like someone to be a high schooler and then it's like, okay, he looks like he's in his 30s.
Like Dear Evan Hansen, right? Isn't he like 30 or something like that?
I don't know, but Fast and the Furious, that guy, he looks so old.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be a high schooler.
Yeah, the Tokyo Drift. Yeah. You're right.
So old. I'm telling you, like, if the point was to make him look really old compared to a bunch of college students, at least get some college students.
Some really young looking guys, yeah.
Like, they're balding. I've seen some bald spots on some of these characters in the classes that are making fun of him.
That is funny. Anything else?
No.
I have a quick question before we get to the Bechdel test. Do you think it's appropriate for a professor to do one of her students, even though he's the oldest guy in the world?
No. And I said this about that other movie with the old guy that goes to prove to his son that he can do it.
Back to School.
Yeah. I said that about Back to School, and I'll say it again.
Yeah, obviously inappropriate. I don't know if it's illegal. It should be. All right, does it pass the Bechdel test?
No.
All right, Bechdel test. Check female representation in movies. There are 3 criteria. Criteria number 1, are there 2 or more named females?
There is the doctor.
Dr. Suzanne Carter.
Yeah, and then there is Lucy.
Criteria number 2, do they talk to each other?
No. They don't.
Do not. So it does not pass the Bechdel test. It only passes 1 of the 3 criteria. All right. Anything else you want to talk about before we finish the pod?
No.
Thank you for tuning in to Papi Approved Movies.
If you like this episode, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite podcast app. And like our podcast on YouTube. If you watched all the way till the end of today's video, please comment down below the football emoji.
We put out an episode every Monday.
If you want to see extra podcast content, you can also follow us on TikTok at Papi Approved Movies.
If you want to suggest a movie for us to watch and critique,
email us at papiapprovedmovies@gmail.com.
That's papiapprovedmovies@gmail.com. No spaces, no caps.
We'll try our best to get to your suggestion.
And remember, it has to be PG-13.
I'll be back in 2 weeks to watch Ghost.
I'm Papi.
And I'm Natalie.
See you next time.
Goodbye.